My name is Kevin. I work for the regional consortium, and I will be the room host today. We're very excited to hear from Amertah, Sonny, and Sarah. So just one quick thing before we turn the time over to them. As you guys are participating in the breakout today, please note that the chat feature is turned off in the actual Zoom meeting. Any chat or questions or comments that you would like to add, please share them in the Whova platform. So if you're watching this on the Whova platform right now, it would just be to the right-hand side of the video. So you can click on that chat icon. So we will go ahead. The presenters today have asked that we hold comments and questions to the end. So we'll go ahead and work through those at the end, but we'll turn the time over to them now. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin, and welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for the second breakout session of this year's Regional Counselor Conference. We appreciate you joining this session on early college credit for pathway completion. So my name is Amertah Perman, and I'll be presenting today alongside Sonny and Sarah. Sonny and Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, great. Thank you everyone for being here. I am Sarah Vielma. I'm the director for our college career and technical education in San Diego Unified. So we are a large district. Our college and career pathway program is in our middle schools and high schools, and I will also oversee our college partnerships, including our Ccap program and our articulation and credit by exam. So we'll be sharing a little bit about all of that with you, and especially our partnership with Miramar. So Sonny.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Sonny Nguyen, Associate Dean for Outreach and School Relations at Miramar College. So I oversee outreach, our Promise program, assessment, really all of the K-12 type programs that help students transition to college. But here today, we're really focused on our dual enrollment opportunities for the campus. So I'm excited to dive deeper into that with you and hopefully get an opportunity to hear from all of you as well so that we can work together to expand and overall improve our programs. Back to Amertah.
Thank you, Sonny and Sarah. So as I mentioned, I'm Amertah Perman. I'm the Dean of Career Education and Workforce Development at the San Diego Community College District Office, and I serve across all four of our colleges: City College, Mesa College, Miramar College, and the College of Continuing Education. I am also one of the 3 tri-chairs for the Regional Strong Workforce Career Pathways K-14 work group. Today, we're going to provide you with insight into the regional early college credit efforts and share resources and early college credit definitions, present one local example of a K-14 partnership focused on early college credit, and provide space for discussion as we hope to hear from you all today as well. So with that in mind, we welcome you to put your name and institution and role in the chat feature within the app so we can get a sense of who's here today and what your connection is to early college credit. During the session, I'm going to first briefly provide information on the Regional Strong Workforce K-14 Priority Project, early college credit for career pathway completion. And then I'll share the newly endorsed regional early college credit definitions. But for the bulk of our time today, Sarah and Sonny will be sharing their K-14 partnership, including their early college credit offerings, key elements for success, and lessons learned. And after the discussion, we have included a number of resource slides. We most likely won't have time to actually go over them. They're there for you to explore later on as a tool. So let's get started. This is the region's community college students' road to career success, within which all of the regional strong workforce work groups are positioned. There's a lot of different work groups in the regional strong workforce efforts, and they're all positioned to help support and coordinate initiatives throughout the student journey, focused on improving workforce pipelines and career success for students region-wide. The career pathways work groups are focused at the very beginning of this road to career success, which is the first section of guided pathways, clarifying the path, career awareness, and post-secondary engagement. There are a number of work groups within this regional career pathways space. The K-14 work group is focused primarily on middle school and high school to college pathways, but also connects with the adult education and non-credit work group initiatives. The K-14 work group includes non-credit and credit college representation, adult school representation, and K-12 partners, including the county offices of education, as well as K-12 CTE directors, teachers, and pathway coordinators, etc. So like all the other regional work groups in this front-end career pathways area, the K-14 work group is focused on outreach, alignment, and acceleration. And while we have a number of regional priority projects, one of our primary focus areas in the K-14 work group has been early college credit opportunities. And not just any early college credit, but early college credit for degree and certificate completion. Early college credit opportunities are an essential strategy to accelerating career, college degree, and certificate completion, and a key tool for closing equity gaps in student and career success, specifically for Black, Latinx, and Indigenous students. The K-14 work group is committed to supporting K-12, adult education, and community college practitioners in working together to build meaningful early college credit opportunities for career pathway completion. Within this focus on early college credit for career education, degree, and certificate completion, we've been moving two primary projects forward: establishing and confirming common language and shared definitions, and creating common ground across practitioners. The need to first establish common regionally approved endorsed definitions related to early college credit was identified as a priority first step by community college practitioners and K-12 and adult education partners. Establishing regionally agreed upon definitions related to early college credit will help bridge gaps across K-14 career pathways and create consistency for K-12, adult school, non-credit education, and community college practitioners. And I'm happy to share that an early college credit definitions document was just recently approved by the region. Yay. While there are a variety of early college credit opportunities available to high school, adult school, and non-credit students, the regionally endorsed definitions are primarily focused on these three main opportunities, as they are of particular interest to community colleges for increasing career pathway completion, and a really great focus area for intersegmental partnership building, as they require both community college and K-12 partnerships to offer them, unlike other forms of college credit, early college credit, like AP, for example. The definitions document also includes definitions of common implementation terms related to early college credit, things like apportionment, CT transitions, Perkins, special admit status, and other confusing language that gets thrown about left and right. So the regionally endorsed definitions document is really just a starting point, and I think that's really important to emphasize. This definitions document is practitioner focused. It includes intent, impact, the priority early college credit definitions, some other early college credit definitions, and then those implementation terms I mentioned. For each early college credit opportunity, the document includes purpose, key components, and how credit is usually awarded. Definitions were first compiled from existing local, regional, and statewide resources. Then we went through many rounds of stakeholder engagement and feedback with K-12 partners, adult school representatives, and across a wide variety of roles within the community colleges across our region, from staff, faculty, administration, and senior leadership. And this is where I read the fine print. Regionally endorsed definitions solely provide baseline, agreed upon common vocabulary, and do not equate to regional practices or consistent implementation. Each San Diego and Imperial County community college may have their own unique implementation methodologies, strategies, and requirements for early college credit. I always say that because it's really important. This is just a starting place to help us get on the same page with the language that we use when we work with our partners. So by regionally endorsing these definitions, the colleges are committing to supporting consistent language when working with partners. The goal is to integrate these common terms and consistent language into K-12 and adult school focused materials to support practitioner and student understanding of the early college credit opportunities available to them through their local community college. As I mentioned, this definitions document is just a start and practitioner focused, so it's not meant to be given directly to students. Since that's the case, the region has leveraged the definitions to develop materials for students focused on raising awareness. So these new regional early college credit flyers focus on simplified definitions and key differences. They are K-12 focused and available in Spanish and English. And then later on this spring, we're going to be translating them into a number of other languages. There are customizable versions available as well, so that K-12 schools can tailor them to their local context. For example, adding specific counselor information or unique requirements that may be applicable just for their students. And then we're also going to be working on adult student focused flyers this coming spring. So these are really K-12 focused. Early college credit opportunities are for adult students as well. And so we'll be working on other materials that speak directly to that space. These materials are inside the conference app, but also linked within this presentation. So when you have the presentation, you can access them. So what are these 3 priority early college credit opportunities? So dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, and articulation credit by exam. Dual enrollment is an early college credit opportunity provided through enrollment in actual college level courses taught by a college instructor, but with just high school students. So enrollment is only open to the high school students, and usually the courses are offered at their actual high school, but not always. Participation and grades are automatically tied to the student's college record. Concurrent enrollment is an early college credit opportunity where high school students directly enroll in a selected college course that is already being offered by the college and open to the public. Sometimes concurrent enrollment opportunities are provided to a student through a unique MOU between the school site and the college. And this is really a great way to ensure fees are waived and that there's wraparound support for the students, as well as planned availability for actual seats in the courses. Otherwise, concurrent enrollment occurs when a high school student just selects a college course and enrolls in it just like any other college student. Participation and grades are automatically tied to the student's college record. Articulation credit by exam is an early college credit opportunity which aligns an adult school or high school existing course to a college course and utilizes a college faculty approved final exam, which enables the student to qualify for college credit. The student takes their regular course at their school with their classmates and their local teacher. It's a very low stakes opportunity where the college credit is only transcribed to the student's college record after meeting specific grade requirements and completing appropriate forms for requesting the college credit. Most articulation credit by exam agreements have grade requirements to be eligible for the credit. For dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment, the colleges get apportionment. For articulation credit by exam, they do not. All 3 forms count towards the K-12 college and career readiness indicator, and high schools may transcribe them to their high school transcripts and sometimes provide weighted credit and other local school-specific incentives. Community college and K-12 partners are more and more exploring ways to combine these 3 forms of early college credit to support career pathway exploration, completion, and then transition into the community college. Regional strong workforce efforts are particularly interested in identifying, uplifting, and strengthening local initiatives focused on doing this, but specifically focused on building equitable pathways for acceleration across all forms of early college credit. So speaking of that, I did want to go back briefly to the 2 priority project areas of the work group and mention the second area that we are working to expand. So as we get the ball rolling on the regional early college credit definitions, we're also working to build common ground across practitioner groups. For example, the community college practitioners focused on articulation credit by exam are being convened by the region through a regular community of practice, as are community college outreach roles focused on middle school and high school engagement. The region is exploring opportunities to support improved dual enrollment practices through leveraging existing resources and connecting with other regions who have developed outstanding tools for regional early college credit initiatives. At the end of the presentation, we've included a number of resources that highlight some of the ones that we thought were the most valuable. Additionally, the region is providing local practitioners with opportunities to learn together. This includes sponsored participation in the Dual Enrollment Leadership Academy, which will take place throughout the spring. As I mentioned, the work group is committed to supporting K-12, adult education, and community college practitioners in working together to build more equitable early college credit opportunities for pathway completion. And you're all welcome to join these efforts, by the way. Just let us know. We'll invite you to the meetings. So that was, I know, a bit of a whirlwind overview, just a few minutes, slight dive into what is going on with the regional career pathways, K-14 work groups, early college credit efforts, and the early college credit definitions, which was just recently approved. So after taking a quick breath, we will now transition to the primary focus of the session, which is a local example of a K-14 partnership focused on early college credit. And we are so appreciative to have Sonny and Sarah agree to present today and share with us some of the insight into their partnership efforts, where they work across different forms of early college credit. But before I hand it over to them, I'm just going to provide a little bit more context to get the ball rolling. So San Diego Miramar College is one of 4 colleges within the San Diego Community College District. And the San Diego Community College District has a joint board partnership with San Diego Unified School District. So we're very unique in that our districts completely overlay each other. And so we can work very closely with our partnerships across all of our feeder schools with the Unified School District. So our joint board meets annually to review progress on priority goals and set new areas of focus. 2 specific focus areas are equitable early college credit expansion and improvement, and pathway development and transitions. The San Diego Community College District early college credit opportunities are, like all colleges, a bit unique. So articulation is centralized at the district office, supporting faculty across the credit colleges and working directly with K-12 partners on all agreement development, management, and student credit. And then dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment is decentralized, whereas the college is taking the lead. However, there is district support and new coordinated initiatives focused on early college credit process mapping and practice improvements, including district-wide reporting on access and outcomes, and establishing consistent practices where appropriate. So this work is all being done in collaboration with our San Diego Unified School District partners. So it's very exciting to all be working together to make district-wide improvements. So with that real brief context, I'm going to hand it over to Sarah and Sonny.
Thank you, Amertah. So first, to get started, I just really want to express and restate how grateful and thankful we are for the true partnership that we have with the San Diego Community College District colleges and also Miramar College. So we are going to highlight today some of the key partnership establishments that we have with Miramar College, and also what some of the key elements of success are in that partnership. We truly approach all of our goals together. So we're looking at what are the goals that we're trying to achieve for our students, and what are action items or steps that we can take, and we work on those together, and it really makes a difference. So with Miramar College, we do have all 4 of the different types of early college credit opportunities for students in place. And this is unique to Miramar College. So we do have the dual enrollment program, where the agreement, official Ccap agreement, the College and Career Access Pathways Agreement, is established every June. So we're working throughout the year to identify which courses all of the schools will be offering, so that the agreement can be board approved by June and then sent to CDE and sent to the Chancellor's office. These courses are established to support transfer, college and career readiness, high school graduation, and they all lead to certificates or degrees. So you heard that a little bit, but that just want to restate that those are our dual enrollment courses that we offer. The non-Ccap dual enrollment, they have a specific agreement as well, and they are actually intentionally selected by each of the schools, but the courses are offered on the college campus. And what Miramar does is they save the number of seats for our students in the college course with the other college students. So it's a really great opportunity for our students that maybe we don't have enough students in the Ccap program on our high school campus to still allow students to take a college course in their interest area or in their career pathway focus area. And you're going to see an example of how that really comes into practice a little bit later. Concurrent enrollment is offered, where students can enroll independently and take any college course that they might be interested in. We have a process to support them through that in the supplemental application process. And then the high school credit by exam, the articulated courses, and we have several. We're going to show you those on the next slide as well. But these are the high school CTE pathway courses that have an articulation agreement. This articulation agreement is not always just with Miramar College, and we'll explain that as well. Sometimes the course is articulated with one of the other partner colleges, but of course that college credit will transfer over to Miramar if these students continue on to Miramar, or any college as a matter of fact. Okay, so we can go to the next slide here. And this slide gives you an idea of what are some of those specific courses. So we talk about these courses, but what are they really? So the Ccap courses, you see a list here of what those courses are that are being offered right now. So you see math courses, music courses, oceanography, business, marketing, communications, English, political science, sociology, health, personal growth, history, psychology, and administration of justice. So these are the courses, and we're focusing on the schools that you see up at the top here that are the Miramar feeder schools. So this is Canyon Hills High School, Mira Mesa High School, Scripps High School, and University City High School. Now, the non-Ccap dual enrollment courses, these are, again, the ones that we're saving maybe 5 seats, 2 seats, 10 seats in courses. And those are listed here. Those are our child development. So we have a child development pathway at our high schools. So some of those students want to continue on and earn a certificate or degree. They can actually start taking those courses towards that through the MOU program or the non-Ccap dual enrollment. You'll see Black Studies, math, auto courses, computer science, which has been a focus for our district over the last several years, political science, business, again, some communications in English. So if we didn't have availability in Ccap to offer a full another section, we may have a few additional seats that are needed, and Miramar allows us to save those seats and place students into those courses. Again, it is through an agreement process, so it is, those courses are selected. We communicate very early on how many are needed. I forgot to mention that also above in that box there, in that text box, you'll see the number of students that we're talking about. So in the Ccap courses, just with Miramar, we have about 55 sections in fall and about 57 in the spring. And you'll see enrollments of almost 2,000 students, 1,792 in fall, 1,912 in the spring. The non-Ccap dual enrollment, we're looking at about 80 seats to 67 seats that are saved. And then the high school CTE pathway articulated courses are in the very last column. The two that are at the top that are italicized are the courses that are specifically articulated with Miramar College. So they have our medical interventions course is articulated, and students can earn college credit in their biotechnology course 31. And then the developmental psychology of children, they have that articulation agreement for their child development. Fire technology I listed here, that's actually not offered at one of these feeder schools, but it's offered at one of the other high schools in our district. And we do have an articulation agreement with Miramar for those students. And then you'll see the other courses that are offered at our feeder schools. So these students have the opportunity to earn college credit in all of these different courses within their pathway programs. So really unique, and you'll see that we have, how all of these opportunities can work together really effectively as we go through the presentation.
And here we have a timeline just to give you an overview of what goes into our process over the course of the year. And this is not to bore you with the nuts and bolts, but really to highlight our partnership. And as you can see, this is a non-passive planning process. And throughout the year, we're actively engaging with our partners through San Unified, through Sarah's office. And just to highlight a few of those, that big push in the beginning, before we even start off the school year, we're doing a mass push to really sit down with our faculty, to really prepare them, to orient them, right? To let them know all the nuances that come along with teaching at the high school level or even at the college level, or you can't just turn them over and say, all right, same as always, go about it and take care of business, right? You can imagine, like, what do I do with the parents, right? Those are all things that we have to take into account, but it's very important that we involve our instructional faculty members so they're aware and they're included in the loop as they would provide support and feedback for us as well. And, just getting students ready for the enrollment process. That's an all hands on deck process, from the counselors at the high school to Sarah's office, my office, a lot of late nights here and there, just automating all our systems and getting students enrolled into the proper places. You think 2,000 students, they don't just automatically fall into place, right? And these are all individual manual steps that are taken to make sure that the students are in the right places. Throughout the year, we're always thinking of what's the best and the most appropriate way to schedule and offer the courses that are going to best meet the students where they're at. So we involve our faculty, our academic leadership, our campus leadership, the district leadership, in continuous communication, make sure that we're not disregarding the students that don't necessarily have a voice. So it's not just the accelerated courses, but we're really thinking about the wide range of the courses that we offer. And does it make a difference? Does it make an impact to our feeder areas? What do they offer? And can we align with those course offerings. And, outreach, I oversee outreach, but it's not the responsibility of one department. It is something that we put a lot of heart and soul into, targeting our parents and students to identify, who would be great candidates, and also make it equitable in terms of access, right? It shouldn't just be catered to our high flyers, the students that are just going to go in and transfer on to university, but really an opportunity for all. And, I think this, again, just reinforces that we connect throughout the year, and it's never a you do this, I do that, and then we'll see you in a couple of months, right? It's throughout the year. So that leads us to our next slide.
Sonny, can I point out one thing on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one thing that I like to point out on this slide is that you'll notice in that fall, August through December, it's a getting students into classes, they're starting classes in August, and then very quickly, right away, it begins planning for next year. And so then you'll see that right away, October, November, beginning planning for the next year. So, and then throughout this process and throughout this timeline, there are a lot of systems and structures in place. As Sonny mentioned, getting all of the students enrolled, we're sharing reports and data back and forth to make sure that we have everything in place. The other highlighted piece there is the Ccap parent and student orientation. I just wanted to point this one out as well, because that is a combined parent and student orientation again. So we host it, we invite all of our parents and students that are involved in Ccap to give them strategies for success, to make sure that they have the documents filled out that they're going to need. And our Miramar partners and outreach also attend and actually present to our parents and students as well. So it is a very combined effort that we deliver there. Thanks, Sonny. We can go to the next slide.
Absolutely. And then we'll definitely cover some of those activities in more depth later on in the presentation as well. And just wanted to, again, highlight what it takes for how we've become successful, but still looking to improve always, right? One of the things that we default to is the why, right? Not just the why for us, but why for the students, right? And it's not just, oh, I go to college and I get college credit, or I get a boost in my GPA, but really thinking about the impact that it makes for students. And, if I were a first generation college student, right? What does that mean for me? We talk about imposter syndrome, and with the confidence that it gives a student to really experience firsthand what this opportunity provides to them. And how do we get that to have buy-in from everyone, even from our college faculty? How do we make this important enough so that it prioritizes college enrollment for the high school students as we balance out our own challenges with college enrollment, right? So why is that important? So we always go back to that core feeling of, why is this for the college? Why is this beneficial? Why is it beneficial for our institutions, but ultimately for our students? And that leads to really a community, right? The community, and I can tell you, if it weren't for the community and my co-presenters today and working through this process, it would be very challenging to say the least. So definitely find yourself in Amertah and Sarah to get in your team if you're looking to improve upon your programs. But it also requires the involvement of our instructional departments, the leadership of both institutions, our instructors that are teaching the classes, the counseling, the liaisons that we work closely with to ensure the student success, but also the parents and the students, right? It goes without saying, right? We can't do this without their buy-in and their engagement and their support of their students at home as well. And how do we go about doing that? Next slide, please. So benefits of the students. I'll turn it over to Sarah to give you kind of the legislative background, and then we'll go into some of the specifics.
Yeah, so now we want to just highlight we're going to take each one of those elements of success and speak a little bit to that. So this one is that focus on the why and the benefits for students. So number one, we have on here that preparation for college and career. And next time I think we should make the and nice and large, because that's truly what this is doing. We have the college and career readiness measurements visual there for you, but we know that taking a college course helps to show that a student is prepared for college and career. It isn't just to meet our dashboard requirements. It's truly for the student, so that the student knows and feels confident that they are prepared for college and career. We do a great job in preparing for career with our CTE pathway programs and focusing on certifications and experiences and work-based learning, but ensuring that students are prepared for college, having them take a college course while they're in high school is a great way for students to demonstrate and actually know that they are prepared to succeed in college. That education code that Sonny referenced is one that I often go back to make sure that we are, one, increasing access and opportunity to students. So the initial legislation that really focused on these dual enrollment programs being offered at a high school campus, the purpose, and it's in Ed Code very clearly, the purpose is to offer and expand dual enrollment opportunities for pupils who may not already be college bound. So we want to give students that extra support while they're in high school to take a college course and to see themselves successful, so that students that may not have thought of themselves as being able to be successful in college can have that experience early and maybe find that they are interested or they do want to continue on in their post-secondary careers. Also thinking about students who are traditionally underrepresented in higher education and how can we reach them and encourage them to take these courses and also be successful. And then the ultimate goal is developing seamless pathways from high school, including continuation high school, and into community college for CTE or preparation for transfer, improving our high school graduation rates and helping students achieve college and career readiness. So always making sure that we have that focus so that what we're doing and our work and our goals are aligned to make sure that we're increasing that access and opportunity for all students. Sonny's going to talk about college prep, I think, and then I'll touch on pathway support on the previous slide, Amertah. Thanks.
Yes. So, I mean, just to add on to what Sarah just said, we're really trying to approach it with the mindset that, college doesn't start when you get into your 12th grade year, right? It really should start earlier. We all know that, right? And how do we integrate that? And it's really giving students an opportunity to reevaluate what that college model looks like, right? If we're trying to identify students to enroll in these college level courses, right? It may not be the best way to do that by approaching those that may not have considered college with just offering English and math courses, right? If I was a 10th grader and I wasn't thinking about college, if you're only offering me math and English, that maybe not be the way that I want to go. By giving students an opportunities that may not be otherwise offered at their campus, right? Really gets them excited, gets them really invested in what they want to do. And how do we go about preparing them for that, right? And I think that's why, speaking from the outreach standpoint, we're really trying to educate and prepare students earlier on to offer and make things very tangible in terms of the college experience that they can get while they're in school. And, really explore college without that added pressure of, I have to know exactly what I want to do right away. How do I get to explore my interests without, just knowing that if I go down this road, there's no way of turning back. So we were really trying to create opportunities for students to feel they have a handle of their goals, how they want to approach their pathways, and really just reinforcing that support, right? So that, they're more successful because it's more intentional in terms of how they approach it, and providing that additional guidance and support, including others that they may not see, having faculty and instructional partners come and really lay out, like, here's the potential pathway, the career outlook that you could really find yourself in. So it's not this abstract thing. Hey, I want to get into business and I just imagine myself working in an office. What does that mean, right? Really drilling down and really helping students visualize what that looks like and to really help them make that decision. So providing that support all along the way. And as I said, right, for students that are first gen, this is a great opportunity to really build their confidence and hopefully, really mitigate some of that imposter syndrome. And really, it's a great opportunity to support our underserved populations.
Great. And then thinking about pathway support, that's a focus area that we have as far as enhancing existing pathways that students are already in or offering pathway opportunities that maybe are not offered already. So on the next slide, we have a great example of what this looks like in practice. And this is an example of the Biotechnology Certificate of Achievement and how the courses work together to allow students to earn a certificate achievement while they're in high school. So that first course there, that Biology 131, that Introduction to Biotechnology 4-unit course, if you remember, that course was one that I highlighted early on, that it's a high school articulated course. So students that take our medical interventions course, which is the capstone class in our pathway for biotechnology, they earn an A or B and pass the end of course exam. They earn the credit in that course. Now, the other two that are highlighted in green, those are the college courses. And those courses were courses that were identified as non-Ccap dual enrollment and included in our MOU agreement with seats saved for our students. So students were able to have seats saved, enroll in the Bio 132 and the Bio 133, and upon successful completion would actually earn a certificate of achievement. Now at the San Diego Community colleges, their certificate of performance kind of indicates to students that they're on the right track, that they're heading towards a certificate or degree, so they can actually earn that certificate of performance with the 132 or the 133. That does not go on their on their college transcript, but earning the certificate of achievement goes onto their college transcript. And in this case, we even had students walk in the ceremony at Miramar College to celebrate their achievement of this certificate. So they were earning that certificate while they're in high school. This program in particular at Miramar, I know, leads to many jobs, high wage, high demand in our region. So it's a great program to have and to see all of the different programs working together to truly give students the benefits of accomplishing that certificate. So we can go to the next slide. Yep. And the next one, we are starting to now focus on the second element of success, which is the community college and high school outreach efforts.
Thank you, Sarah. And just to kind of reiterate what Sarah just said about those students that walk in our ceremony, it's such a privilege to work with the students through the onboarding process from the outreach perspective. And then in our role on our campus, we also have the fortune of being the lead ushers and coordinating all the graduates walking in the ceremony. To see them start right at the high school level, continue to go through the classes, the support programs that we offer at the college, and then see them walk is quite a fascinating feat, right? To be able to say, hey, I graduated with the college students even before I finished high school. That's an amazing thing. I just wanted to reinforce that and emphasize that point. But you know, one of the things that I think has been really helpful in what we do is that this started with our outreach. Outreach is used to onboarding and working with students through the matriculation process. But when we were tapped to also lead the dual enrollment process for our students, it really set us off because we already had that foundation. We had relationships with our schools, our partners, our students, and our communities. And it really was an opportunity to add on to that. Here we are now able to come out and really provide another opportunity to support our students. I also oversee our Promise program to allow students to continue onto the college to take classes, tuition, and enrollment fee, and to be able to pull those pieces together and really reinforce the idea that college starts earlier, right? It doesn't begin 11th, 12th grade, but you can really plan ahead and complete college credit earlier on. And as far as like, you know, the way that we approach it, members of my office, we have mentors, student peers that are in college that can help students when they reach out to us. We have counseling in my office that will be able to provide support and proactive intervention if students are failing after their high school counselors meet with the students, right? We can discuss how it impacts their long-term goals, how they impact the following semesters. So there's more of that community that's already built in. And the idea and hope is that the students would return. You know, in fact, about a third of our students that go through our high school programs will persist to Miramar College. So we're really excited about those opportunities to really build that community and really have that close-knit foundation with the outreach office. So it's really critical to how we connect with our partners with K-12. Our liaison, right? The liaisons typically are head counselors at our high schools, but not always. They're typically designated counselors that really work with us on a day-to-day basis to support the students, to provide interventions. We work with our instructors. They usually communicate with my office as well as with the liaisons if students are, you know, not participating or falling behind, so that there's proactive intervention and we don't wait till the add drop deadline or the W deadline to intervene and really help support the students. We want to make sure that they're successful. And in some ways, that's an added feature that our college students don't necessarily have, right? They have all these support mechanisms in place to really get them through this process and really nurture and guide them, but also not to handhold necessarily, but to really educate and really get them to be accountable for their own education and know how to do and navigate this college process even before they become college students officially full-time, right? And then with district supports, we have Amertah from our district. We meet on a regular basis. We have collaboration with not just outreach, we have our counselors, we have our admissions representatives, different folks, even campus research, right? Everyone involved to make sure that we're aligned, we're continuing to support the goals that have been set forward by both our districts. But then I will also turn it over to Sarah to kind of discuss a little bit more on how her role and her district support provides to our campuses and our institutions.
Yeah, and on the high school college counselor liaison, I just want to elaborate a little bit on that as well. As this program was established, it was very important that each high school identify who the college counselor liaison was going to be. And this is one of their existing counselors who is also going to take on the role of being that direct contact and direct liaison for the college courses and Ccap. And that has been a huge element of success because we have that group to really come together to discuss, to talk about programs, to talk about planning, and then they take that back to their schools. It was one of those structures that is part of our system. So it is included in our site operations circular on college courses so that every school knows and principal know that is one of the things that they need to identify is who's going to be their college counselor liaison. As far as district supports, our Office of College, Career, and Technical Education supports the college program and supports the college application process, the communication to students. So we have, district-wide about 8,000 students that are taking the college courses. That support that our head counselors from our office give, they're going out to schools and they're actually helping students through that application process, making sure that they understand and have everything in place that they'll need for enrollment. That has made a huge difference. Also just keeping streamlined processes across our different campuses. And we also want to make it easier for our college partners. So that instead of them having different people that they're going to and trying to get information from, we can help support that with reports or through different system-wide communication that we then provide back to the colleges. So that has been a key element as well. And then as Sonny mentioned, the district support through San Diego Community College District, working with educational services, student services, outreach, and career education, again, to just make sure that we have consistent practices. We come together to discuss and refine our practices through those meetings and those opportunities. All right, we can go to our next key element, which is community development. And Sonny's starting us off with that one.
Yes, so as we alluded to in that timeline, these are some of the specific strategies that have held us together and really build upon the relationship that we have. And it really begins with that engagement with the high school, the college, and our district partners at St. Unified through Sarah's office. And one of the biggest pieces of that is the planning meetings that we have with our high schools. It's typically not just a one and done deal. We have opportunities to follow up, really connect with our institutions to make sure that we're really meeting the needs of the students. We're exploring how do we assess what courses and programs that would make the most sense to our sites, and it's very tailored to the site, right? It's not like here's a one size fits all for all our feeder area high schools. We really take the time to meet with them individually to make sure that we're drilling down to their concerns and what their needs are. And sometimes we will model based on that specific site's needs, right? We may offer something here at this particular site that we don't at the other site. It's always a trade-off, and we try to work on it on an individual basis. And I think that's kind of the value of having a smaller number of service area sites, because we really can't provide that personal touch and service. And other members that are typically involved in the planning process includes the college administration, Sarah's office. Our high school counselors are typically there as well, so they can speak from the student's perspective, so that we're not making these decisions in a vacuum. And oftentimes these are, formal meetings that we have typically in the fall. We're actually scheduled for some coming up, but we meet a lot, quite a lot before that, leading into those presentations, so that everyone's prepared and there's no surprises, and we really have a plan to work from. And it's really including all the data that we've collected up to this point, right? So we were really driving these decisions with sound, data that we've collected through the help of both our institutions. Faculty, that's something that we really try to prioritize because we know that we just can't turn our instructors over and just teach it as they normally would. We put in a lot of time to help our faculty members get oriented. They get orientations, they get professional development, not just prior to the semester, but opportunities throughout the year provided by our district, provided by my office, and we engage our partners. So often Sarah and her office and her counselors are often there as well. We invite our liaisons, they're there as well, and they're typically followed up with their own site orientations, whether that be online at the campus itself. So there really is that relationship that gets built in, that communication that gets sustained throughout the year. And we have opportunities to meet in the middle of the semester so that we can kind of just check in, see if there are any issues, challenges on top of all the communication that we have throughout the year. But it's really an opportunity to get our liaisons, our faculty, and members of both institutions together to really sit down and discuss, like, how do we help the students finish successfully? And if there's something that we can correct or intervene, let's do it now. Let's not wait till it's too late for us to do anything about it. We also have set the opportunities to allow our faculty and liaisons at each of the sites to really get together and debrief what's worked, what hasn't worked, to really value and prioritize their input and feedback so that it helps us to immediately implement some of those changes in the following semester or the upcoming years, because we value and we can't put how important it is, right, for our faculty that are in the classrooms and our counselors, liaisons that are dealing with the students, what their experience tells us and how it drives us to make our decisions. And then really just I can't speak highly enough about the parent-student orientation, because it's not just another class opportunity, but really an opportunity to debunk the myth of community colleges, right? And why this is such a valuable asset for our families, and really an opportunity for those families that maybe don't speak the loudest, right? What does it mean to be excited about going on to community college? And besides like the nuts and bolts of like going through and how to fill out the supplemental applications and the timeline, the processes, but really getting families excited about college, right? And how do they get started and really take advantage of this opportunity? And it really goes back to that community development, right? So it's not just the institutions, but how do we get involvement from our parents and students? How do we capture their input and their needs so that we can drive and set some of the programs as well? As far as college faculty and high school counselor engagement, again, it's a full team approach, as I shared with some of the examples. Our liaisons are constantly in communication with our instructors, very different, again, from how it's done here at the college level, right? Typically, instructors only go to their department chairs or their deans if something comes up. And oftentimes, my office, if not me directly, we're included in some of these conversations that the instructors and the counselors have with student privacy in mind, of course, but really the intent there is to provide support for the students, and that if the student reaches out to any of us, we know exactly what's going on, what's happening, and we can pass it on or refer them to the next level, and they would have that continuation of support. So it's as seamless as possible. As far as supports for students, we have opportunities for all of these students, whether they're taking classes at the high school or the college, they have access to a full range of resources that our typical college students would have. So even if I'm taking a class at the high school, I can still go to the tutoring center at the college campus. And what we've noticed is that those students that take the classes at the college campus, they take full advantage of those resources. And in some cases, are doing better than their counterparts at the high school, just because they're more likely, since they're here on campus already, to take advantage of those opportunities. And that lends itself to those proactive interventions, right? We're in constant communication with our high school partners, in some cases with the students, right? But in Miramar, in my department, we have an outreach counselor that can provide direct support and really follow up the student after they've met with the high school students, so that there's that connection, right? It's not just I'm getting support here for high school, even though I'm taking college classes. It brings it all together, so there's that holistic approach in terms of supporting our students. And I already mentioned this, but in addition to our tutoring services, They get counseling services, they get the math lab, the English lab for relevant courses and whatnot, right? And, you know, all the program, the extracurriculars, you know, the food pantry and things of that nature that occur on our campus, our dual enrollment students have access to that. So it is a great resource for them. And sometimes they just come to campus to study or use the Wi-Fi, right? So again, there's a range of different things that they can take advantage of.
And I just want to restate that idea of communication. So you see that up at the top, but this has really been one of the big, another difference that I've seen, where bringing the faculty to a meeting together with the college liaisons to be able to talk about the student experience, to talk about, it really makes a difference in the communication. So we can encourage our counselors to, you know, maintain communication with faculty and encourage our faculty to share information about students or information about, you know, students that might be struggling with counselors, and we ask them to do it early. But having the meetings really helps to support that, increase that, and it really just gives that extra structure and support just by scheduling the meetings to bring faculty together and our liaisons to talk about it. It just builds into that relationship that they have and helps contribute to that success for the student. So it really becomes working together for that success for that student.
And yeah, well, I know we're running short on time, so let's drive it home, right?
Yep.
So what we've learned, you know, we've collected a lot of data over the last 6-7 years that we've run this program. We started out with a very small programs, a handful of students here and there, and just different pockets, and they were all kind of scattered, right? They existed in their own silos. And now we've been able to really come together both as districts, as institutions, and really map out what our programs should be like comprehensively, what it should look like throughout the year. And we're continuously meeting to improve upon our processes, to automate and really streamline what we do so that at the end of the day, we're really benefiting students. And where do we go from here? We're learning a lot about who's impacted directly by these programs, who's not impacted, who's not participating when they should be, how are we disproportionately creating barriers for our students, right? How do we go about resolving some of that? So we're starting to dig deeper and have a deep dive into some of these conversations that really will benefit our students. And we really want to look forward to creating more intentional pathways to align for our students. And again, as we've said, to continue that community involvement so that we're able to increase opportunities and access for our students.
Thanks, Sonny. So Sonny touched on the data piece, and then this last one here of college planning culture and beginning earlier as a community. So we recognize that the earlier that we begin these conversations, the better. So we're looking at intentional focus on middle school, communication, early commitment to college, starting in that middle school, communication with parents, communication with students, or beginning earlier. And all of this is for continuous improvement that we believe in order to increase access and opportunity for all. So keeping that in mind. With that, we are going to transition. We wanted to leave time to actually do a live Q&A. So on the next slide, we do have a prompt for all of you, and we'd like to hear from you too, or ask any questions that you'd like to ask. But what are you doing currently for pathway planning and early college credit if you're coming from a school or college that offers early college credit? And then sharing any challenges or promising practices that we can also learn from you. And then another prompt here is, how do you identify and recruit students for your early college credit opportunities? Any resources that you might recommend, you can also add them into the chat if you don't want to share them. And then how do you build meaningful partnerships for student success? So we wanted to give you a chance also to share some of comments or feedback on any of those. And then again, we can address any questions that are either in the chat or that you would like to ask us.
So I do see one question in the chat, and I believe you've touched on parts of this, but it says, in terms of dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment, what level of involvement do parents have as the students cross from high school students to community college students?
Yeah, so once during the articulation process, which is when students are selecting their courses, the schools are doing presentations to parents and to students so that they're also informed about what these courses are, what are the students, what do they have the opportunity to take. And so we want to have that parent support as well. And we want them to also understand the benefits as well. So many times, there's certain key things that some parents know about already, and that they want their students to make sure that they're they're getting, right? High GPAs or AP classes or things like that that have traditionally been in place and that some of our parents are familiar with. So making sure that we're sharing the benefits of earning college credit while they're in high school, because it's a newer thing. So involving our parents during that process when they're selecting courses and learning about the courses, but also learning that broader picture about how to prepare for college and career. And then also the Ccap parent and student orientation is after students have selected their courses. We have a presentation that we actually expect all parents and students to attend that are going to be taking their college course. And in that we talk about, as I mentioned, we talk about, what's needed. So we ask our parents and students to sign a district agreement in addition to the agreement that they sign for the community college and for taking community college access pathway courses, the agreement that they need to have signed at least once during their high school career. But we also have an internal one so that they understand any impacts or anything about what does it mean if a student gets a W or doesn't pass the course. And so we share that during that presentation. We also share how students can access any of the services that they might need. And so during that time, we share the strategies and tips for success. How can a parent support their student in taking a college course? How is communication a little bit different, right? So we share with parents that they shouldn't be contacting the professor themselves, but they should be supporting their student in that communication line and process. So how does that parent, support a student in a college course that might be a little bit different in how they've done it in high school courses? So we go through that during that presentation. And then our counselors on the campus, again, our high school counselor liaisons, they're the contact for that parent as well. So if anything else comes up while the student's in the class or, while they're getting ready to take the class, they have that person that they know that they can speak to, as well as their high school counselor as well. Thank you for that question, Kimberly. Anyone else want to unmute or share anything or any responses to any of the questions on the slide? We'll wait a little bit. We thank you all for joining us again. Hopefully you've gained some valuable information. And again, we'll share, the slide deck is shared. The resources are shared as well.
And there is a question that was put in the Q&A. Are students allowed to take courses in the summertime, and how do they count the credit in high school?
Okay. And then I do see another question in the chat too, so we'll make sure to get to your question too, Joyce. So taking courses in the summer, yes. So we do have some schools that do plan for a Ccap course in the summer and actually offer Ccap courses in the summer. Students can also take those courses independently. And so there is a process for them to request that they want to earn credit for the class that they're going to take in the summer. And they should do that ahead of time and then, sign up for the course and then after bring their transcript back so that it can then be recorded onto their transcript. We have set some guidelines for students as far as how grades are put onto the transcript. If they take a Ccap course or something that we have an agreement with, then our district has chosen to record the grade on the transcript. If a student is taking courses on their own, we do put that onto the transcript as a pass, no pass, and it just has to do with equity for GPA calculation. And so that's how we've chosen to address that. I think that was all of that question, Kevin. Okay. And then Joyce had a question in the chat. How do our students navigate textbook costs? So this is a very good question. So for the Ccap courses and the courses that we have agreements for, our district provides the textbooks for that. And that is part of the Ccap agreement and expectation is that when you have a Ccap agreement in place, that we as a district are providing the materials that the student needs to take those courses. They are on the high school campus. So we provide the textbooks. We actually have a process in place where the professors request the textbooks ahead of time. And then we work with our instructional materials to get them ordered and to get everything in place so that students have the materials that they need. It does need to fall under instructional materials. And we have found some instances where materials are requested by a professor that maybe do not fall under our instructional materials guidelines, and we have to find another source for that. But overall, our materials, textbooks are provided to our students.
Thanks.
So good question. Joyce had a follow up real quick. She said, are we constantly reordering new materials? So we try not to, but so we do, have then a resource of materials, but we do also need to reorder materials if in that next year there's a different professor or if the professor wants a new material. So annually we have an allocation that is set aside for the college courses and materials.
I think it's worth pointing out too that with the whole textbook and instructional materials cycle, there's a lot of communication between Sarah's team and the college. And so there's a form that's managed, that communication goes through different people within the college, straight to the college faculty who identify the courses. There's a lot of different structure and support mechanisms behind the scenes so that San Diego Unified knows what to order and that it's appropriate, and that the faculty is also aware of what's already been ordered in the past so that we can save time and money and all of those things. And so there's a lot of back and forth and planning that goes into the process as early as possible, which can, prevent a lot of challenges, but also is a challenge in itself to manage.
Yeah, and I should mention too, the open educational resources that are available and many professors are using. So there are a lot of resources that do not have a cost. And Sonny and his team do a great job of communicating to their professors and encouraging them to use those resources and use those materials. And we do find many that do.
And just quickly on that, it ties back to the relationship building, right? Schools will often have and request like, hey, can we have that instructor back? They have that established relationship and they often will use the same textbooks. They understand. They will even ask, well, how much is this going to cost the school? Because I want to make sure that the students are able to get what they need. So there's a lot of like nuances that go with that as well. And then it's not just simply textbooks, right? And it's one of those things that we've learned to kind of cultivate over the years.
Thanks. And I know we're out of time, but I did just want to mention, and the slide deck will be available for you, but there are a couple additional slides here where we cover some resource development and compilation that the regional K-14 work group has put together. There's also some materials we selected that are really great existing resources from other regions that are excellent tools and guides. Of course, Career Ladders has amazing resources in the space for early college credit, so many different excellent articles and research going on in that space. Our favorite is the dual enrollment playbook. We have a little summary that we put together as a district to sort of give you easy access into the space, but there's also the full report and then high school specific and college specific resources about really how to create equitable acceleration opportunities. This is the Dual Enrollment Leadership Academy we mentioned earlier. And that's it. Those are the resources, but I just want to mention them briefly before we close out so that you know what's in the slide deck. And thank you everyone for joining us. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to us by email. We're happy to connect and learn from you as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see everyone tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for our second keynote.